the Fit and Healthy Athlete Podcast.
Debbie Potts is here to help you burn fat, optimize health, and enhance your performance in life as you age. We'll explore metabolic health, holistic health, and actionable insights with guest experts and deep dives into health topics. Whether you're an athlete or just looking to thrive, let's discover how to become your best self. Let's get started.
Hey guys, it's Coach Debbie Potts, and I am giving you another sneak peek on what's to come every Tuesday starting in September 2024 when I'm relaunching a new season of Coach Debbie Potts, the new name of the podcast, formerly known as Low Carb Athlete, originally named Fit, Fat, Fast. Now my focus is how to be fit and healthy from the inside out with the elements of the holistic method as we age. Because we can't help getting older, but we can embrace the aging process and enjoy the journey and slow it down and ideally avoid wrinkles and getting slower and getting fatter and struggling to move. That's my goal. What about yours? My focus, coaching my clients and running my group 30-day programs quarterly, is to help provide you with the information, the resources, how you can take ownership of your health, how to recreate yourself today to be your best version of yourself, your second half of your life, how you can create yourself in the future starting now. If you're 40-something, 50-something, 60-something, 70s, we can still work on how we want to be showing up in 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and really look at visualizing. How do you want to be moving around and living life when you are 70? How about 80? How about 90 years old? What about that? Have you read Dr. Peter Attia's book, Outlive, and reading about his Olympics? Being able to get out of the pool without using the ladder, simple things as that. And as I watch my mom age, she's not very active, and I keep encouraging her and trying to use my new behavior change 6-month course I just did on health and wellness coaching to get board certified. We guide you. We don't tell you what to do. It's motivational interviewing skills, and we are helping you figure out how to take care of yourself, how to take ownership of your health, how to get motivated to get up and start moving outside and start your day. So what I wanted to do today is go over some of the information I've been sharing on the YouTube channel. I have so many videos on there. If you could go to Coach Debbie Potts and hit subscribe, as well as give this podcast a review, 5 stars, ideally, because we don't show up. When I started Fit, Fat, Fast as a co-host with John Smith 12 years ago, 14 years ago, when did we start that? 2010, 2012. There were not many podcasts out there. Now, it's really hard to grow a podcast, especially when there's such major podcast influencers out there as Huberman and Attia and Cynthia Thurlow is really growing, and Ben Azadi and Mel Robbins I just discovered, and who's the other guy I just found that's huge? The CEO of Your Life. There's tons of podcasts. So I'm trying to keep it real over here. Again, comparison is the thief of joy. So working on not comparing myself to other people. I know I love listening to different podcasts. Let's see, what do I have on my podcast app? Found My Fitness by Rhonda Patrick. I've got Huberman, Human Performance Outliners of Zach Bitter, Metabolic Freedom by Ben Azadi, Nutrition with Judy. I started getting downloads for Dr. Andy Gappin, his Perform podcast. On Purpose with Jay Shetty. That's the one I just found. And a really good one that's hilarious and great for road trips, Smartless. Have you listened to that? Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett. So funny. Another one, of course, I like Dr. Gabrielle Lyon and Gabby Reese and metabolic links on here. Of course, The Drive and Mindy Pels. There's so many podcasts. I know I can't keep up. And I think it's great to dive in to these topics of metabolic health, mitochondrial health, but also working on the elements of the holistic method. There's 8 elements. I put this together 10 years ago as a personal trainer, triathlon coach, run coach, cyclist, athlete myself. I could just exercise alone, coaching people does not work. You cannot get results by just focusing on your exercise. I put together the holistic method to help my clients, training them as the whole athlete, the whole individual. Nutrition, exercise, sleep, stress, movement, and mobility is in there. Digestion, gut health, happiness, gratitude, laughter, play, and mineral balancing and hydration. So I have 8 elements I work on when I'm doing my group programs and one-on-one. We use functional lab testing and ideally in person, get my Patoe metabolic testing done. But nutrition, we're going to talk about today. Big question on aging. A hot topic is carnivore. When we first started this show 12 years ago, we were early on to the eat fat to burn fat, being fat adapted. And then we got into the fasted exercise. And, at the same time as being keto is fat adapted and paleo and all this autoimmune paleo. And now we're all about learning about carnivore. A lot of people have big interest. So I have a few different podcasts coming out this fall. I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 6. That's 16 episodes recorded that I will be launching on Tuesday. So I've got the whole year. Some of them you may loved about sleep. I've got Dr. Molly Essman. I've got glutathione or wellness with Dr. Nayan. I've got Zane Griggs talking about the single food ingredient. Lisa Welderman talking about carnivore. And we talk about vagal nerve, heart rate variability with Rhonda Collier, Chris Gethin about aging and getting stronger. And a big, huge one on my YouTube channel is Dr. Elizabeth Bright. We did a follow-up Q&A about iodine, and that one has, 15,000 views, which is a lot for my little channel on thyroid iodine health. Joe Friel was a really big one too. You must listen to that and more on hydrogen water. JJ Virgin, I just interviewed today. NutriSense, skin health, BioSil, hydrogen water. I said, so I've got so many good ones coming up. And we do have more on carnivore coming this Friday. I have Sabrina and I have Dr. Kiltz on carnivore fertility this September. So I will be bringing in health, nutrition, exercise experts, including carnivore, because that's always a big question. Now, what I want to talk about today, I will do a video why I find I'm more meat-based. Why am I not carnivore? It's a little too strict, but I think carnivore is beneficial, as a lot of people agree, as a food elimination diet. If we look at food sensitivities, if I do gut testing, if I do your nutritional therapy signs and symptoms, so many people, clients that I have and others I know in my practitioner group, work with clients that have inflammatory bowel disease, leaky gut, irritable bowel disease, Crohn's, colitis, all SIBO, so many different gut issues. And in root cause medicine, we're looking at why. What is not working that's causing imbalance in your body systems? The body should be able to digest and eat food from nature. We shouldn't be able to digest and absorb nutrients from vegetable oils and all the standard American diet crap, processed foods, fake foods. But if it's real food, what's broken? So a carnivore diet, if you look at Nutrition with Judy, is very healing, but then it's more reintroducing foods that are from nature afterwards, right? So I've done Nutrition with Judy's nutrition program and carnivore diet for gut health. She did a great online summit. She has good information on the carnivore diet for gut health. As all disease begins in the gut, Hippocrates. And some people say almost all diseases start with a leaky gut. We want to find the root cause. And as Dr. Judy, or she's not a doctor, but as Judy Cho shows on her podcast and website, I'll read this from her website, Carnivore Diet Gut Health, nutritionwithjudy.com, and I'll put this in the show notes. Did you know that 1 out of 4 Americans suffer from gut disease? Now, more than ever, gut health is significant priority amongst both ill and healthy individuals. Gut health and proper digestion are two of the most important foundations in ideal overall wellness. Judy is a nutritional therapy practitioner as myself, and we learn about the foundations. I always start with the foundations first. A compromised gut can impact everything from the immune system to mental health. While there are a number of different supports and approaches required for gut healing, the most important intervention we can argue about supporting gut health is your diet, what you're eating. And I always talk about what you're eating, when, why, where, and how. And Judy says on her website, backed by considerable clinical practice, recent scientific data, and thousands of anecdotal accounts, highly celebrated, effective approach for optimizing gut health is the carnivore diet. The carnivore diet is a powerful tool for addressing gut imbalances and gut disease, along with the downstream effects of compromised GI system. For some, diet intervention can promote root cause gut healing, while for others, it offers essential support during the journey to the discovery of foundational cause. In her website, I'll put in the show notes, she has an extensive guide on carnivore diet for gut health and the benefits it can offer and the proper steps to take. When we're talking about root cause healing, we look at symptoms of disease. And Judy's background is fighting with eating disorder. Other people have type 2 diabetes, obesity, fertility issues, allergies, migraines, skin issues, cancer, low thyroid that Dr. Elizabeth Bright talks about, histamines, PCOS, blood pressure, all these different types of diseases. We want to look at, why do you have them? Why do you have these symptoms? We look at the tree, or the symptoms, and the roots of the tree. If you look at the image, the root cause: blood sugar imbalance, insulin resistance, dehydration, mineral imbalances, sleep, fatty acid deficiency, stress, trauma, nutrient poor foods as food dyes, GMO foods, anti-nutrients, additives, low stomach acid dysbiosis, inflammation, heavy metals, mold, pharmaceuticals, and toxins. So I will save, that's a great picture to put on your show notes here today. Gut health has a direct relation to the immune system, mental health, autoimmune disease, endocrine disorders, GI disorders, cardiovascular disease, and cancer. We always prioritize the importance of supporting the gut in order to achieve root cause healing. The incredible complexity of the gut is a critical role in our overall wellness is still being explored and researched. Last little bit I'll read. The human microbiome. The microorganisms that live together in a specific environment really refers to the large collection of bacteria and microbes that live primarily in the gut. The body typically carries trillions of microbes in the gut, including more than 1,000 species of bacteria. The bacteria not only help the body digest foods, but also play a critical role in the immune function and mental health. There are actually more bacteria cells in our digestive tract than there are human cells in the entire body. While there are different opinions of the exact numbers, human cells make up only 43%, excuse me, of the total body's cell count. The rest are microorganisms that make up the human microbiome. Research over the past 20 years have discovered that our gut flora, our microbiome, plays a critical role in regulating the gut integrity and function. That's why poor gut health, including digestive issues, gut dysbiosis, other imbalances in the gut flora can contribute to extensive list of chronic conditions ranging from autism to rheumatoid arthritis. So that's on Judy Cho's nutritionwithjudy.com, carnivore diet gut health. This is what I find works really well with clients when they are interested in healing their gut. If they come to me and they have all these different signs and symptoms, we can do more a gradual carnivore, strict carnivore. I don't do strict carnivore. I don't have any gut issues, but I do want to improve the aging process. I want to have good skin. I want to have good gut health. I don't want to have bloating and gas digestive issues that I don't now. I want to have strength, power, speed as an athlete, and nutrition is what we want to focus on to start. Now, I'll put the link in the show notes from my friend Brad Kearns created a couple years ago called the New Carnivore Scores Chart. And I did a video on this on the YouTube channel. You can look at this score chart. Eat smart, plants a la carte, he says. I can even hear Brad saying that in his funny voice. Grass-fed liver, oysters, salmon roe, and caviar are the global all-stars, and fruit. Ancestral centerpiece micronutrients, easy to digest, go organic. Local is best. I stopped eating fruit except for apples, and now I'm tired of apples. I don't eat apples anymore, but I'm currently, as it is summer right now, as I record this, the organic blueberries and raspberries, I think, are just out of season. So I won't have those anymore. And then some blackberries. I seem to do okay with dairy. And I know a lot of people are no dairy, but I reintroduced cottage cheese, full fat, and trying to get a cup of that with my SIBO yogurt that I ferment for 38 hours. And that's a half a cup of ton of probiotics. And it has a little bit of fiber in the fermentation process of it. That's what I've been doing for my morning breakfast. I stopped eating cottage cheese, I think 10 years ago. I stopped doing a lot of dairy, except for cheese and my heavy cream. And I know a lot of people say no dairy, cow dairy, no cheese, no anything. But so far, I haven't had any problem. I've been doing that about 2 months. Now, eventually I'll get sick of it, but I do add some pumpkin seeds and some walnuts. And that's what I do my mornings because I do work out first thing. And then I do often something at lunchtime. So I'll eat. And this is why I've totally changed. I used to be obsessed with intermittent fasting, not eat till 10 or 11 in the morning. Even though I worked out, I would just wait until I started to get hungry. Then I go master swimming 3-4 days a week at 11:45 a.m. or I go for a walk, jog. Lately, it's supposed to be a run, but I'm always not into running at lunchtime. I walk, jog, or do some intervals. Now, for me, that's 8 a.m. till, say, noon that I need to time my meal. And if I wait too close to that lunchtime, especially when I'm swimming, I do not want food close in my belly. I take a while to digest. So I've experimented what works best for me in my workout schedule and timing my meals in and around my workouts are getting that 40, 50 grams of protein ideally per meal. And I have to time it around 8 a.m. because then I usually start work at 8. And then I swim or do something at 11:45. And so I need to make sure I ate. And then if I need a little something before swimming, I'm starting to feel hungry, I want to improve performance. And it's always intervals when I go swimming. And sometimes I make it easy. Sometimes I go hard. But I might have a half a layered bar on my drive to swimming to get a little bit carb timing because we've talked about that to eat real carbs in and around the workout to improve performance, especially if you've been listening. As we get older, what happens? We get slower, lose muscle, we lose speed. And as a female with lower estrogen, I lose all that and I need to combat that loss of estrogen and lower levels. And start doing something about it would be doing speed work, doing heavy lifting, and doing mobility work, but getting the right fuel to help me go faster when I'm doing sprints or lifting. Well, I don't eat before I work out, lifting weights in the morning, but if I'm doing HIIT training, I probably would perform better if I add a little fuel. And for me, that's 5:15 in the morning. So I do best if I have a little cream on my coffee and collagen peptides. But if I'm doing sprint interval training, I probably need a little bit something. So that's side tangent, but we want to work on what we're eating, when, why, where, and for sure how. I don't care how much of this great stuff you're eating. If you're eating like a vacuum cleaner and you have really bad eating habits, let's start there. Because it doesn't matter what you're eating if you're inhaling your food. You're one of those people that do not put the fork down and you're shoveling your food and scraping it. One, that's really bad eating habits and it's kind of bad table manners and annoying for people around you if you're scraping and inhaling, but it's bad for you. So if that's you, you might just take a little inventory and self-evaluation of, am I eating slowly? Am I eating mindfully? Am I chewing my food before I swallow? Am I taking another bite before I finished chewing and digesting or starting the digestive process of my previous bite? That's what I would work on, as well as timing it and then moving, of course, after we eat. Now, going back to Brad carnivore scores, we've got the global all-stars I was talking about, and then I got off on the fruit part. So we have grass-fed liver, and that has superior micronutrient profile off the charts in vitamin A and the vitamin B groups and vitamin C and all sorts of things. I don't like liver, so I do Paleo Valley or Body Health organ capsules, which I need to order more. You can go to my full script link in my notes and you can get Body Health organ supplements. Paleo Valley, you have to go through their website, but use our code to save on your order. Now, oysters, I don't like oysters either, but those have great zinc and B12 levels. The salmon, roe, and caviar, I'm not a fan of, but we want iodine. If you listen to Dr. Elizabeth Bright, we need iodine. I need choline. If you look at my genetic markers, I need choline for sure. Everybody says in my genetic reports, choline, choline. That's egg yolk, but salmon, roe, and caviar, I don't eat, but that would be good for me. And omega-3 fatty acids, the EPA, and your DHA. All right, next on the list is animal organs, the reclaimed, forgotten ancestral tradition. I'm not going to do this either, but the bone broth is on the list. I can do bone broth. Liver plus bone broth, heart, sweetbread. I can't even read this. Kidney, Rocky Mountain oysters, tripe. Now, again, give me the capsule. I'm all good. So he does have on here organ supplements capsules. Brad uses ancestral supplements. I've used them before. They're freeze-dried, 100% grass-fed organs. Primal Kitchen has collagen peptides powder. And there's Paleo Valley. You can use, ask me for my link. I'll write that down. Paleo Valley. They have a big sale on right now if you're listening to this when it comes out. Now, next on the list, nutrient density, we're talking about red meat, centerpiece of nutritious human diet through evolution. 100% grass-fed you want to get. So there's Butcher Box. Paleo Valley has wild pastures food service you can get. You can find other meat delivery that have red meat of buffalo, bison, elk, lamb, venison, healthier animals, no mass production. Now, next on the list are eggs. They have a lot of choline, so I've been trying to do eggs, but if you hard boil them, it doesn't work. It kind of kills the egg yolk. So we want to soft boil eggs or eat soft boiled or fry. If you cook your eggs, fried eggs, just make sure that you're not overcooking the egg yolk. B vitamins are good in there too. Fat soluble vitamins. So we got that egg yolk has the vitamins in it. You want fat soluble vitamins. Now you want to look, they're pasture raised, local. When I go bike riding out to Ramona, there's this huge area of little huts all over the grass, and those are where the eggs are laid in the hut, the chicken farm. So the chicken are out there roaming around, then go lay their eggs, and they're all over the place. Good place to get your eggs. I think it's called Happy Eggs. Next on the list, wild caught oily cold water fish. Great source of omega-3s. You'll hear a lot of people talking about smash fish diet. Sardines, mackerel, anchovies, salmon, and herring are the smash fish. On that list, only thing I like are the salmon. The little small fish, not for me. Now, my friend Annette Bosworth, Dr. Boz, she does the sardine 3-day challenge. I don't think I could do that. Maybe if I'm fasting that I'm on an island and that's all I could eat, maybe I would do sardine challenge then. That's hard. Much harder than bone broth fast. Now, shellfish, oysters plus clams, crab, lobster, mussels, octopus, scallops. Who doesn't like scallops and bacon? Makes scallops taste much better when you wrap it in bacon. Sushi, getting that good sushi, but not, got to watch you're not getting the rolls with all the sauces and creams that are not always great, depending on where they're making it, if they have vegetable oils and that mayonnaise. But sashimi, seaweed salad, right? That stuff's good. Now, organic high-fat dairy is on Brad's list. Avoid all conventional, pasteurized, and low and non-fat products, or if allergic. If you can't do dairy, we identify that in our food sensitivity. Vibrant Wellness is my favorite, or their Cyrix Labs. And they're expensive, but they're the best ones. If you want to get your money's worth on food sensitivity tests, go that route. And I don't like the blood spot test. I just don't feel trusting of just pricking your finger and telling me what food I can eat or not eat. But the food Zoomers and the food sensitivity panels from Vibrant Wellness, Vibrant America are my favorite, or Cyrix Labs. So maybe you can't do dairy, but if you can, some people are okay, as myself. Raw cheeses, kefir, which I just made a new batch of my probiotic super gut yogurt from kefir, oat milk kefir. There's some milk. I just do heavy cream. I get the organic heavy cream from Costco. Cream cheese, heavy cream, sour cream, if that's okay for you, and full fat yogurt. I make that fermented yogurt. So if you do have any issues with lactose, Dr. William Davis said it's okay because we ferment it for 38 hours. So the lactose is minimal. So let me know if that's on Super Gut. Dr. William Davis's podcast with me. You can read and learn more on his website. Now, bottom of the list for the protein parts, chicken, turkey, and pork. They're not as nutrient dense, so they don't have as much as these other great foods above we talked about. But ideally, get local, 100% grass-fed, pasture-raised poultry, heritage breed pork. Now, Brad always talks about other options. If this is more the ketovore, not strict carnivore, maybe you're adding in other foods. They're lower toxin plants, monitor for food sensitivities and your reaction to food, integrate strategically for recovery, glycogen reloading, optimal thyroid and adrenal function, and enjoying life. And this is what I love about this chart. So, avocados, they are good. Potassium, high antioxidant, vitamin B6, vitamin K. Nut butters, we'll go over phytates and lectins next. But if you're okay with nut butters, I've been trying to do more sunflower seed nut butter. That Laird Superfood has a bar without the almonds. If you're okay with nut seeds, there's nut butters, easier to digest. Now, seaweed, as I said, going to sushi is a great place. Go get some sashimi, have a side of seaweed. That's a great source of iodine. So I know I need iodine every day. Vitamin D, B12, selenium, omega-3. So seaweed salad, oh my gosh, I should go to sushi more often. Think about that. If I got my sashimi and had the salmon and I know you're not supposed to do tuna that much because high mercury levels, but you get some good seafood, get the iodine, choline, omega-3 fatty acids, seaweed to get the iodine, vitamin D, B12, selenium, omega-3. So good for your thyroid, have some seaweed. Now, other things on this list that are good for us, it's not strict carnivore, but fermented foods is kefir, kimchi, kombucha without all the sugar, miso, natto, olives, love my olives and pickles, sauerkraut. I always buy it and it sits in my fridge. So I know I'm supposed to have a tablespoon a day, but I just threw away this giant Costco container I had in the fridge, I think, all year. Tempe, probiotics nourish healthy gut bacteria. So fermented foods are going to give you the bacteria, the good bacteria that we need. And you want to have, when we do your gut test, if you work with me, I do microbiome tests, Genova Diagnostics or GI Map. We really want to see the good guys outnumber the bad guys. And think of that as your garden. You got all these good flowers, and you have guys that are overgrown, and then we have some that are hiding underneath. So we want to find that balance so we don't have overgrowth of one bacteria. So we want a nice balanced bacteria. Having fermented foods can help that. Now, vegetables and fruits are a big thing, right? So we talked about berries. I really find this is where it's for us athletes that are exercising, especially we're moving, we're exercising, we're lifting our weights, we're doing our sprints, we're doing our cardio training. If you're training for a race, you're doing a little more zone 2. You want to time that fruit, vegetables. The sweet potatoes are on here too. So sweet potatoes, squash are highly anti-inflammatory, immune boosting, support gut health, high antioxidants. The vegetables, you have to choose which work for you. So we'll go over that lectin list that I have from Sean Wells. You want to enjoy your meals and enjoy life. So that's why I'm not strict carnivore. I don't have big red flags. I do want to lose about 10 pounds. Yes, I do have 10 pounds on my thighs and my butt I want to lose. That is trying to get my rehab, my legs to my right leg's not firing on some muscles are dysfunctional. So part of that, I can't lift heavy weights on my lower body to get the output, but I can ride hills and do sprints. So we want to work on changing our body composition by feeding our microbiome, feeding our muscles the right food, and fueling for your workouts. Muscle protein synthesis, we'll get into on my blogs here and go back to my previous videos. We have to get the right protein intake to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. There's a little formula. You need essential amino acids and the right amount of leucine. Before I get there, just go to Brad's carnivore score sheet. I'll put the link in the show notes. But the oils you should know by now, probably especially the bad seed oils you want to avoid. You want to cook with good fats as ghee, butter, lard, coconut. Now, my genetics, I have high markers. I should not do as much saturated fat. I know that's a big debate too, but I'm experimenting with doing more olive oil versus doing ton of bacon and bacon fat. The ghee, butter, lard, coconut oil are good saturated fats for most people, and eat extra virgin cold pressed olive oil. I've been trying to I just had tri-tip, the stuff from Costco and that vacuum pack, and poured olive oil on it. I just love olive oil and sea salt. Now, supplements, we can talk to you about this another time. I think it's very individualized, but there's key supplements I think a lot of people agree on. A good magnesium, a good creatine, monohydrate, organ supplement I think would be beneficial. Vitamin D3, K2, omega-3 fatty acids. So your essential fatty acids, I would add in essential amino acids, magnesium, D3K2, an organ complex, that's a good multivitamin, and creatine, and getting whey is beneficial. Now, I don't want to talk forever here, but my website, Not All Protein Equal blog, is really fascinating information from Perfect Aminos on how much protein we use. I wrote that May 7th, 2024. So catabolic versus anabolic. You know what that is? Anabolic is building, catabolic is breaking down. Perfect aminos or essential amino acids. Perfect aminos by Body Health. You can get on my full script at my discount. 99% absorbed. Whole eggs, 48%. Meat, poultry, fish, 32%. whey, soy, and nuts are only 18%, branched chain amino acids 1%. So if you're still supplementing with BCAAs, throw them away. Try essential amino acids. I use Keon or Body Health. Body Health you can get on my full script. Okay, so we want to look at the amino acids. We want to look at digestibility of our food, bioavailability, nutritional quality, looking at nutrient density. All right, so there's a big article I tried to go into amino acids. How do we stimulate muscle protein synthesis? What essential amino acids are needed to stimulate muscle protein synthesis? This is all the research getting from Dr. Gabrielle Lyon and Dr. Donald Lehman. They've talked about all this and how plant-based protein is not equal to animal-based proteins, So I did a whole blog. It's more chat GPT. If you look at a vegan protein powder versus a grass-fed whey protein powder, the amino acid profile is different. And to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, we need a certain amount of leucine. So it's called the leucine threshold. The general recommendation for leucine intake to maximize muscle protein synthesis is around 2 to 3 grams per serving or meal. So, to stimulate muscle protein synthesis, you need 2 to 3 grams of leucine within that essential amino acid profile. You need all those amino acids together, but the leucine is a trigger for muscle protein synthesis. And so they say it's important to note that this recommendation applies single serving or a meal. Multiple meals or servings throughout the day can contribute to overall leucine intake. But it's worth mentioning that the total protein intake is crucial for muscle protein synthesis, as leucine alone is not sufficient to maximize muscle protein synthesis. So leucine needs all of his friends. I just thought of Charlie Brown, Peanuts, characters that you think Lucy, you got to have all the players together. So you can't just have Lucy, you have to have Charlie and Linus and whoever else, all those people together. You need all the essential aminos because leucine can't do it alone. So you can't supplement with leucine amino acid and think you're going to stimulate muscle protein synthesis. Maybe you do the essential amino acid supplement and leucine. I don't know. But I did all the calculations. So if you want to go to ChatGPT and put in what you eat and say how many essential amino acids are in this serving is how much, and then say how many grams of leucine are in this, because leucine trigger is the minimum amount of leucine required to maximize muscle protein synthesis, MPS, in response to meal or protein intake. Leucine is essential amino acid, plays the crucial role. We went over that. Research suggests that you got to reach a certain threshold to get that anabolic response to promote muscle protein synthesis. Specific threshold can vary, individual factors, the context of the meal, but it's about 2 to 3 grams per serving. And this is achieved by consuming high-quality protein sources such as whey protein, animal-based protein, or a combination of plant-based protein. This is why I started to research this, you can look at this blog because I put all this in here, one of my rabbit holes, but if you're just having a pea protein, and so you'll see a certain combination for a plant-based, because remember, you have to get the right amount. So you might need double the servings to equal of your plant-based protein to equal what you would get from a whey protein. Now, I know a lot of clients, when they do their food test, they can't do whey. So we need to look at alternate sources. Ideally, we start with raw foods and not do any powders, right? Essential amino acid capsules, I'd like, or the tablets, or you can drink them. I've been doing the grass-fed whey protein from Keon. You can get other non-whey proteins of beef protein from Equip. And then there's Paleo Valley has bone broth protein. And I'm all about unsweetened because I think there's too much sweeteners and everything. I read the ingredients and I get samples from companies all the time. And I always say, nope, there's too many sweeteners. You've got monk fruit, stevia, erythritol, all this stuff added. We don't need 10 different sweeteners in something. So I like to get unsweetened as well as my electrolytes. I don't do the sweetened. Minimize all that sugar because then you're just getting your taste buds to crave sweetness sugar. So it doesn't really help if you're trying to get rid of that sweetness and crave more bitter foods and change your taste buds. Same with people that put stevia in their coffee. I don't get it. You're putting sugar in your coffee. You're just craving sugar. So get off those habits if you can. Now, animal-based sources with high amount of leucine, of course, are going to be your meats, fish, and eggs. Some in Greek yogurt, cottage cheese has a good amount of leucine. And then plant-based gets complicated. You can do it, but I was doing the calculations. It does work, but you're going to have like 4,000 calories. It's really ridiculous. So legumes is lentil, chickpeas, black beans, kidney beans, tofu, tempeh, quinoa, peanuts, peanut butter, pumpkin seeds, chia seeds have some leucine. But if you do the calculations of your favorite plant-based foods, you have to go, okay, how much do I need to get the right essential amino acid profile? And with that leucine threshold in one serving, you're going to have to get like 4 servings of it, and then it's so many calories. It doesn't really work. Now I put some notes, Dr. Gabrielle's show notes in here. You can dive into it. Rhonda Patrick's show notes on protein notes on there. So that was on the plant-based versus animal-based. Now, if you look at those infographics of 25 grams of protein, you really need 2 of those because you probably need 40, 50 grams of protein. And if you look at for women, post-menopause, post-workouts, they're saying we need 40, 50 grams, not 20, 30. So you have to be creative because say, here's this image is 1 cup cottage cheese is 25 grams, Greek yogurt, 1 cup. So maybe that's a lot of food for a lot of people. I can eat a lot, but 1 cup, you need 1 cup of cottage cheese and 1 cup of Greek yogurt. Then you can add some berries. There you get your protein and a little bit of carbs post-workout. Now, 1 scoop of protein powder is 25, so you need 2 scoops. 4 eggs is about 25, 6 grams an egg. Then that's a lot of eggs. I couldn't eat that many eggs. Scrambled eggs, it's easier. But what if you did eggs and turkey, eggs and beef? You got to be creative, combine their foods. 4 ounces of salmon would be 25 grams, so you need 8 ounces of salmon. If you have canned salmon, ideally you got to watch that aluminum. And then the mercury of the fish, you got heavy metal toxicity, you got to look out for when you're doing canned foods and mercury foods. Got to do heavy metal testing, ideally once, twice a year. But that's another option. Roasted pork tenderloin is 3.5 ounces, so you need that 6, 7 ounces of that. Chicken is 3 ounces. It's not as nutrient dense as red meat, but you can get 6 ounces of chicken. 3 ounces of cooked lean ground beef is 25 grams, so you need 6 ounces of ground beef. So there's some ideas. And during muscle protein synthesis, remember the body uses amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, to construct muscle tissue. Essential amino acids are crucial for MPS because the body cannot produce them on their own and must obtain them from the diet. The essential amino acids necessary for building, repairing muscle, as well as DNA synthesis, includes leucine, isoleucine, valine, histidine, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, theroine, and tryptophan. Now, tryptophan, precursor for serotonin, which also precursor to melatonin, right? Helps with mood, appetite, sleep. Methionine is important for protein synthesis, precursor for other molecules in the body as creatine and glutathione. And what other is a big one? Lysine, important for collagen synthesis, essential for connective tissue repair, maintenance, tendons, and ligaments. Listen to my podcast I just did with BioSil. Super fascinating on what ingredients we need to improve collagen, elastin. And I found it super interesting that I needed choline, which I really think genetics are so helpful to do and see how your genetics impact all this. Because I know I need to always supplement, as I said already, with choline. I'm prone to heart disease with my dad's genetics. And my mom obviously has some SNPs in there. She doesn't know her genetics, but I've got bad genetics for heart disease and for obesity genes and glutathione. So I need to know how to check on this and then get the right labs to test if I'm keeping my insulin low, keeping my CRP down, keeping my APOB low, my LP little a, and working on my CRP levels. So those are some things that I've been working on. The perfect aminos, I find it are interesting. We talked the 3 episodes on this. So go back and listen to Perfect Health. Not all protein is equal. When you're going to bed, they talked about having your essential aminos before bed because it only makes sense. What happens when you're sleeping? Recovery and repair, right? When we're sleeping, we want to be repairing and rebuilding. So taking those before bed to help your recovery is really important. So helping for recovery takes 20 to 30 minutes before your workout to maximize your endurance, prevent muscle loss, and especially if you're still doing fasted workouts. But taking them before bed, I think, is even more important too. They also suggest 2 servings in the morning, 2 servings before the workout, and 2 servings before bed, and that will help you get your protein in. That video is on here with Chase Baldwin. All right, guys, so that's just kind of my update. I never got to this guide I'll put in the show notes. What I always end up finding when I'm working with clients and looking at their signs and symptoms, and we do their food sensitivity tests, and I do their microbiome tests and blood chemistry, nutritional therapy intake form, I'm looking at signs and symptoms to help us figure out their personalized program. And Sean Wells has a great summary page called Your Guide to Lectins, Phytates, and Oxalates. Again, I'm not strict carnivore myself, but if you're suffering from different diseases, just maybe look at these anti-nutrients and read about these. I'll put them in the show notes, but Dr. Gundry's on all about lectins. And then this guide, Lectins, Phytates, and Oxalates, is really helpful. So I'll just summarize what Sean Wells says in this blog. Phytates, they're an indigestible protein that travels through the gut unchanged. High quantities damage the gut wall. They bind to nutrients and stop their absorption. Oxalates are a compound found in many plants. Oxalates bind to minerals and stop their absorption. 80% of kidney stones are formed from the calcium oxalate. So I've had clients that are coming to me and they're having a smoothie that they think is called a protein smoothie, but they put a cup of spinach and kale in it and all this other stuff that there's a lot of oxalates in there. We want to look at, do you have signs and symptoms of too many anti-nutrients? Then we need to eliminate or cut back. We can't fix a problem if you keep putting gasoline on the fire. You need to just eliminate everything 2, 3 months, 30 days even, and help rebuild that cell wall lining. Lectins serve as the main storage form of phosphorus in the seeds. They bind to minerals and stop their absorption, but have some health benefits. So it's not that they're bad. I think it's when you eat something every day. So go back to what I learned years ago from Paul Chek, the 4-day rotation diet. Don't eat the same food over and over and over again. Have it once a week. I take digest enzymes from Body Health. You can get on my full script. But also, we've talked about phytic acid, and I have an Instagram live coming out tomorrow after this comes out. It's on a Wednesday on my Instagram, Coach Debbie Potts. We'll talk about anti-nutrients. And for runners, super fascinating running. We talked to Amy Guzzi on my podcast before about loss of minerals running from the impact of your foot running. So what are phytates? Almonds, beans, Brazil nuts, lentils, corn, peanuts, wheat, and soybeans. What are oxalates? You'll find them spinach, rhubarb, rice bran, buckwheat, almonds, wheat, potatoes, and soybeans. And then lectins, again, notice the word wheat is in all of these. So wheat is just not good. Soybeans, red kidney beans, peanuts, tomatoes, potatoes, and chickpeas. Which, by the way, wheat, if you do a wheat zoomer, really fascinating test to get ordered. I did this myself. If you're reactive to wheat and wheat grasses are a wheat. If that causes inflammation in your body, you need to avoid those green drinks that have wheat grass, including AG1, athletic greens. I had to stop using it because I realize I'm reactive to wheat. So check out your ingredients in the products you're having. 8 causes of leaky gut: alcohol, oxalate, phytates, gluten and lectins, chronic stress, I talk about all the time, a weak immune system, medication, allergens, and sugar. These are all causes of leaky guts. And a lot of these anti-nutrients can irritate your gut wall lining, cause leaky gut. Common side of lectins, for example, inflammation, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fatigue, and joint pain. Foods low in lectins you can find are olives, avocados, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, onions, asparagus, lettuces, cucumbers that are peeled. You can get food low in phytates. Phytates are not really good ones. Let's see. Oh, almonds, Brazil nuts are phytates. So do I avoid those? No, but should I limit them? Yes. Corn is not good for you if you have wheat sensitivity. So I have to make sure I limit corn. If I'm going out Mexican, I have a cheat and I have my tortilla chips, I need to take my gluten dairy digest pill. So gluten or wheat guardian. Anyways, if you properly prepare the foods, you can avoid anti-nutrients. You can do autoimmune protocol, paleo primal diet, Whole30, carnivore diet, ketogenic diet. Those all avoid them. But you can also reduce the content by soaking, sprouting, fermentation, boiling, peeling, de-seeding, getting the skins and the seeds of fruit and vegetables out. That's the part you want to avoid. And figure out alternative to plants is more animal-based diet. And this is why I find people do well with the carnivore diet, because a lot of the nutrients in an animal-based diet are not as irritating as plant-based diet. I'm not saying it's bad to be plant-based, but it's something you should think about. A lot of people struggle. I did for years not eating meat and realized everything I was deficient in was found in meat. Now, here's a good thing. I keep saying I'm going to stop. I got to stop talking because I got to move. Gram for gram, every micronutrient except vitamin C, Sean Wells says on this blog, in red meat. Red meat that people say is so bad. Red meat. Every micronutrient except for vitamin C in red meat far exceeds that in amount in carrots and apples. So when people say red meat is bad, it's the micronutrients you want to look at. And Diane Vega, we did a podcast years ago on nutrient density of meat. When we're looking at organ meats, the micronutrient content is even greater, looking for vitamin C. So here's an example. Beef, higher in iron, creatine, CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, selenium, and B12. What do you need as we age? What do women need? Iron, creatine, selenium for thyroid, and B12 everyone's low in all the time. Salmon. Again, what did we talk about we're deficient in with low thyroid? Salmon's high in iodine, omega-3s, brain health, vitamin B6. You need B6 to absorb magnesium. So if you're low in magnesium, a lot of times you're needing B6 to help absorb magnesium. Salmon has vitamin D, vitamin E, and potassium. Often we're low in potassium. I did a heavy metal hair test and my potassium was super low. So I started trying to add more potassium. Eggs, high in biotin, choline, folate, B5, and K2. And folate is essential for methylation as well as the B vitamins, B12, but don't have something with folic acid. We want folate. Now, butter, high in butyrate. So if we do your gut microbiome test, we want to look at the short chain fatty acid production and we want to see butyrate. This is why carnivore can still work for gut health, because you're getting butter. Grass-fed butter is good butyrate, and that's helpful because the bacteria in the gut that you're supposed to feed with the prebiotic fibers will produce butyrate. But you can get butyrate and eat that, have it from butter. Also calcium, vitamin A, E, and K2. Liver, again, I'm not going to eat liver, but capsules work good for me. High in A, E, K, all the B vitamins, copper, zinc, selenium, and iron. So even though iron or liver sounds disgusting to me, that's why I'll just take a capsule. So look at Paleo Valley. Ask me for my code, and I'll give you a discount code for Paleo Valley or Body Health. Again, full script is the best way to get all these because you can get them all in one spot. So that's all big picture. Sean Wells talks about, we want to eat whole foods, nutrient-dense foods. As Brad Kearns talked about, plant foods are good for us, but they also can be bad for us. Sean Wells says it depends on the type of the plant, when you consume them, how you prepare them. So focusing on your diet, the best way to mitigate the negative side effects with some self-experimentation, investigating which foods you react to, you can narrow it on which anti-nutrients you are particularly sensitive to. So are you aware of the anti-nutrients in your diet? Have you made any changes to them? Have you tried to reduce them? Let us know, and we will talk more on this podcast. I just want to give you a little glimpse of what's to come this fall season, and head to the podcast to learn more on the YouTube channel of everything you might have missed. And I'll try to get all these links in the show notes. Thanks for listening. I'm glad you're here, and I'm hoping you're joining my mission to be fit and healthy from the inside out as you age, and you're on the mission as myself, to thrive as I age. Strive to thrive and improve the aging process. Head to debbiepotts.net for more information or schedule a discovery call with me to learn more about my personalized coaching programs and 30-day challenge.
Thanks for listening to the Fit and Healthy Athlete Podcast.
Coach Debbie Potts draws from decades of experience. Ready to optimize your health? Visit www.debbiepotts.net for a discovery call. Find her on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook at Coach Debbie Potts. To support the show, like, rate, and review. See you next time.